We were the first to bring basket products to the market. Actually, our first product ever was a basket product in Europe. We think the US market's ready for that. It's for those people that don't really know who the winners and losers are going to be. Only surprised that the SEC have paused it. They've been very clear that they're working on a framework, and we can probably expect those products would then be approved. This is genuinely transformational technology that's going to impact people's lives in the future, in the same way that they can invest in AI, be able to invest in crypto. That's certainly what we feel here, that it's beginning to look like that. And as a business that offers a huge amount of alts exposure, that's obviously something we're excited about.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the All in Crypto podcast. I am your host, Rupert, and today I am delighted to be joined once again by the man, the myth, and the legend that is Mr. Duncan Moir, who, of course, is the president of 21shares and a board member of Hedera. Welcome, Duncan. How are you?
So well. Thank you for having me back once again.
The pleasure is all mine. We really do love connecting with you, and I couldn't wait to reach out to you about a couple of new filings from 21shares. There was two filings that took place with the SEC on the 18th of July. One was the 21shares FTSE Crypto 10 Index ETF. And then, of course, there was the 21shares FTSE Crypto 10X Bitcoin Index ETF. Maybe you could break
Rolls
these
off
down.
the tongue, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Quite a mouthful. Maybe you could break these down for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So pretty simple, but we were the first to bring basket products to the market. So we had actually our first product ever was a basket product in Europe in 2018. And we think the US market's ready for that. So not just, ready for more exposure, but ready for exposure in a 1940 Act vehicle, which is not really done that much today, and it's something we think we've found a fairly unique structure, bringing these assets to the market, maybe ahead of other approvals that people are waiting on in a few months' time. And the indices are straightforward, top 10, market cap weighted, dynamically rebalanced. So it's not got the stable coins in there, but it's a top 10 product, and so you get all the blue chips, and it's for those people that don't really know who the winners and losers are going to be.
And want to bet broadly on the space, kind of like what you'd see with the S&P 500. And I wonder if we'll see a crypto 500 ETF. I think we're a while away from that kind of maturity, but that could be.
I think the liquidity might be. We're a stretch
issue.
Getting beyond 20. I mean, if you even look at the products out there doing tracking, like let's say top 20, they tend not to include all 20 because it's hard to run a product with the liquidity that even a sort of 18, 19, number 20 on the list can offer.
Yeah, and I think also you've got the kind of risk of it being the crypto space. We can see coins enter the top, sometimes even 20, just out of nowhere, and then go into oblivion. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've spoken to my head of capital markets in the past, and like his, part of his job is making sure we can trade these things and rebalance. If you run a new product which probably has lower assets at the beginning, trying to rebalance the coins when you're like at that sort of low liquidity can be a real challenge.
Yeah, almost impossible. Absolutely. And there was another filing that took place on the 22nd of July. So it's been a busy month for 21shares. It's been a busy year, and I'm sure that's going to continue with everything going on. But you guys also filed for, I think it's the first spot Ondo ETF. Mm-hmm. Why are you guys facilitating this? What's the kind of, we spoke last, of course, on the back end of the Hedera ETF, the HBAR ETF, or ETP. What's the kind of thoughts behind offering an Ondo ETF? Do you feel like now's the time to provide broader exposure to the altcoin market for retail investors? The US is ready, maybe?
I mean, we certainly hope the US is ready. I mean, the investors are ready for altcoins, that's for sure. Definitely wanting to get exposure beyond Bitcoin and ETH. And in terms of Ondo, interesting story. It's got a lot going on as a business in the US right now. So from a brand perspective, it's got better sort of brand awareness than some of the other coins. Some interesting projects with, they're almost turning into a little bit of an infrastructure company. The Oasis Pro, the broker dealer acquisition, the partnership with JP Morgan and Chainlink. So a few different things going on there, and just it's an interesting one to bring to the market.
Yeah, and just to remind people, 21shares is the largest provider in regards to products of these exchange traded vehicles in the world. So, really happy to kind of see this and see you guys really pioneering the space. Now, as you guys filed for your kind of crypto indexes in the United States, we have seen some news on other indexes, other kind of crypto basket vehicles. We had Grayscale's Digital Large Cap Fund essentially approved and then paused. We also saw Bitwise's top 10 index fund approved and then paused in regards to the actual conversion. Have you got any thoughts on what's going on here? We've got to cover it.
Yeah, you can imagine what our Slack was like when we saw those the first approval come through. But look, I'm not wholly surprised that the SEC have paused it. They've been very clear that they're working on a framework for token approval. And we can probably expect that those products would then be approved down the line as that framework comes out, which we hope is not too far in the future.
Me and you both, and we have spoken about just what this means, because if you look at where capital really is, it's with kind of traditional investment vehicles. Typically, I don't think it's really broadly, if you look at in the grand scheme of things, found its way into the cryptocurrency space. Just to kind of reaffirm how big getting these ETFs over the line is, what does this mean for retail investors in the United States, as an example?
Well, I mean, the retail investors tend to invest via these products, via these structures. Really depends. I mean, the 401k or the pension equivalent will not invest as much in the 40 Act ETFs, but we still think there's a market there for them. The 33 Act structure, while itself not perfect, is a good enough way of giving investors exposure to the asset. And there's a number of other structures available. In the US has no end of different vehicles and wrappers to put product into. But it's all about giving the investor more options, more opportunity to invest, allow them to participate in what we think is a really exciting technology, and just more than just a trading asset, right? This is genuinely transformational technology that's going to impact people's lives in the future. In the same way that they can invest in AI, we think they should be able to invest in crypto.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, we have done a few other podcasts where we've actually got into the kind of nitty gritty in regards to why investing in ETPs, ETFs, ETNs that we're hopefully going to get here in the UK is actually really beneficial to investors. Perhaps they don't want to self-custody, the fees are cheaper, so on and so forth. So there's kind of a lot of talk about Altseason, which we got to be careful with. I mean, when the time's right, the time's right. And I think a lot of this is coming on the back end of what we're seeing with Ethereum right now. Ethereum last week engulfed Bitcoin in terms of inflows from funds. The week before that, it actually nearly rivaled Bitcoin. And what we're also seeing is a lot of companies actually moving their treasury strategies like BitDigital towards Ethereum over Bitcoin. There was rumors that Galaxy Digital sold 80,000 Bitcoin potentially to transfer that into Ethereum. That hasn't been confirmed yet. That is still a rumor. But we are seeing these kind of ETH treasury companies sort of form. We also know that Ethereum is now the third fastest ETF to hit that $10 billion mark. Now, 5 of that 10 billion took place in about 10 days time. What are you seeing in regards to a shift perhaps away from Bitcoin to Ethereum? Are you noticing this? I'm sure, like everybody else, you're kind of watching this and looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah, I mean, look, I probably wouldn't characterize it as a shift away from one to the other. I think there's
Yes.
more money coming into the space. We do see still that the so if you look at the filings on ETH ETFs, most of those investors are also in Bitcoin ETFs, but it's still fairly concentrated in a smaller group. So we've not really seen the broad adoption yet. But we're certainly feeling the benefit, the effects of this resurgence in Ethereum. I mean, poor old ETH has been beaten down for quite a while, and they obviously had a lot of soul searching to do within the foundation and the community, and starting to kind of get back on the feet. We know that the foundation has also been more active in with these treasury companies as well, and I think those treasury companies coming up is indicative of a more buzz and things going on. So glad to see it back actually, because it's been a long time coming.
And do you think this perhaps could signal maybe an interest in a broader alt season?
I mean, that's. I feel like I might have already kind of said that on record, so it's. I'm going to have to back myself again. We it does feel like it. Obviously, it's always you don't want to be the person to just kind of
Of
quote and
course.
call it, but that's certainly what we feel here, that it's beginning to look like that. And as a business that offers a huge amount of alts exposure, that's obviously something we're excited about.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy year for 21 shares. And just to highlight again, you guys don't just offer these products, you offer a hell of a lot of education around what essentially make these products up. We'll leave links to 21 shares and where you can find all this information in the description. You mentioned their kind of ETH strategy companies. We're obviously seeing this with Bitmine. I know they've got backing from the likes of Founders Fund. Obviously, Tom Lee is heading that up, and we're seeing a number of other kind of ETH strategy-esque companies. What's your general take on these companies?
Okay, so there's a lot, right? And
Yeah.
it's, so yeah, BTC, it's ETH, it's I don't know, probably 8 or 9 other cryptos as well. I think it's a good way of giving investors exposure for sure. I mean, it's an easy to invest in vehicle. I do think the premiums that we're seeing in some cases are very high. So where an investor can buy spot, they should buy spot, unless unless they're in it for a short-term trade, riding the wave. But most of our investors are long-term investors. What I would expect, though, as more of these come to market, is the need for them to differentiate themselves. So just simply buy and hold the coin probably won't cut it in the future. There might be some brands that can kind of, because of their own brand value, can kind of just stay with very simple hodl. But I would expect them to need to bring in, most of them to bring in more differentiated strategies. So kind of yield, long short, maybe even structured products on their own token, of course. But you need to show the street something. You're a publicly traded company. People are going to value you, and you need to differentiate yourself from your peers.
I think it's very exciting to watch a lot of this unfold. Certainly, when you're talking about, and I think you're absolutely spot on there, the need for them to differentiate. I think there's a danger perhaps that could be introduced in regards to that differentiation. You could see people looking for yield in interesting places. So it's going to be
Mhm.
extremely
Mhm.
interesting to watch this unfold.
Absolutely. We don't want to see them getting pushed down the quality curve, right? Which tends to happen late in a rally, and there's not as much return there. People are searching for some sort of growth they need to deliver to shareholders. We don't want them to go down the quality curve and then and then it all go wrong. We want them to take sensible steps.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think we're going to see more broadly? I know we touched on this a little bit. Companies go after kind of strategies outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I know you'd mentioned a SUI-esque strategy. What do you think? Do you think we're going to see that, just like we might see more broad alt season? Do you think we're
Yeah,
going to see that?
I think we will, just because there's clearly demand, right? So there's where there's demand, people will bring supply, and I think there's certainly some interesting projects that otherwise would probably not get as much of wouldn't have as much presence, awareness. Something like we saw a hype, right? Hyperliquid one. That's probably not going to get as much exposure to the general public otherwise, because it's more or more DeFi, and so I think we'll see more of those to come.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm certainly excited. I mean, it's been a exciting year in the cryptocurrency space so far. I think the end of the year is really going to be rather magnificent, to put it, to talk it down, actually. And magnificent's not a word you typically use to talk something down. I've absolutely got to ask you about what took place earlier this month, as I know you're a fan of Hedera. I know you also used to work for Aberdeen Investments. What we saw earlier this month on the 14th was essentially the completion, involving Aberdeen Investments, Lloyds Banking Group, and Archax, of the UK's first use of digital assets, which essentially saw tokenized money market funds and tokenized gilts be used as collateral in the Forex exchange markets. How big of a deal is this, Duncan? You're going to know better than anyone.
I think it's a pretty big deal. Look, I was so happy to see it kind of break the news, and it was something that I was very close to while I was at Aberdeen, and obviously that it's on Hedera, which was the original goal as well, is very important to me. So yeah, big deal. Glad the teams got it off the ground, and I think we may have I don't know if we've spoken about it in the past, but the whole concept of posting, say, money market fund tokens as collateral for swaps, for FX swaps, makes perfect sense. I mean, it's just operational efficiency. You can generate higher returns for your clients as well. Just the way that you're posting the money market funds, you're earning the money market fund returns instead of earning cash minus returns usually, so interest rates minus some haircut. But just the operational efficiencies that come from posting tokens rather than going through many steps to process an off-chain transaction makes perfect sense. So well done to the teams there, because yeah, and I'm very happy to see it live.
Yeah, me and you both. And I've definitely got to ask you, do you think we're going to see more of this? I didn't realize just how big the UK kind of FX and interest rate derivatives market is. I mean, daily they do like 5.4 trillion in volume. It accounts for about.
It's enormous. I mean, it's the FX hub of the world, right?
I
Just
didn't know that until
FX.
this announcement.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, London is it's just time zone wise,
yep.
Greenwich Mean Time. It's just kind of perfect for that. So lots of FX going through there. I mean, every asset manager, whether it's from their own balance sheet or for their funds and their client mandates, they'll have FX hedging going on. That's all with the big banks. That's a huge amount of it. So lots of transactions. There's lots of different groups working on things. JP Morgan have done a lot in the space as well in their own chain. But it's nice to see it happen on a public chain, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly Hedera makes it all the more sweeter. Duncan, again, I want to thank you very much for your time. We always love catching up with you. These sort of events are time sensitive. It's been a huge week across the board, certainly for 21shares. Thank you very much for coming on. There's going to be links in the description where you can find out everything about 21shares, and of course, follow Duncan on socials. Thanks a lot, Duncan.
Thank you, sir. Bye.